Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday night loving kindness class or metta class. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you tonight, the day before Thanksgiving. And, it's just another day at the Dharma Bum Temple, just another day doing what we've always been doing. And I hope you're doing well. In California, where we're at, COVID cases are spiking tremendously. And so if you're in California, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying home. I hope you're being healthy and taking all the precautions that you need to take. One of the things that, and before I get to that, actually, I want to talk about if there's anybody new here. If there's anybody new here, the first time to the Dharma Bum Temple online class or first time to the Metta class, I would love for you to say hello. There's a little chat box either on the side or down below the window, and you can just type in a message there. If you're new, I would like to know, tell me that you're new and tell me where you're from. If you are not new and you're from somewhere else outside San Diego County, say so. I would love to hear from you. If you're from inside San Diego County, you're not new, say hello. I'd love to hear from you. So basically, everybody say hello. All right? Everybody say hello. I would love to hear from you. Again, and I'm just going to keep on saying this. It helps me feel engaged. And I hope it helps you feel engaged as well. So what I wanted to get to a little bit tonight before we do our loving kindness meditation is it's very important. And I've said this over and over, excuse me. So my beard is getting very long and it's very itchy against the bottom of my nose. But I've said this over and over, and that you need to pay attention to your awakening. You need to pay attention to the times where you realize that meditation and spiritual practice is paying off. Times where you are slower to anger, slower to get annoyed, slower to engage in a lot of kind of self-denigration and self-hatred, all those internal voices that you might hear them, but you don't listen to them. All the times that you are kinder, more kind than normal, in all these different types of cases. And to pay attention to them because they give you a lot of confidence. They give you a lot of confidence and they help you realize that, wow, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can be enlightened. Maybe I can let go of my suffering. And that this was an important step in the Buddha's own awakening when he remembered a time when he was a child, when he had kind of an enlightenment experience, I guess you could say. And he had this remembering when he was sitting underneath the Bodhi tree, not knowing how he was going to become enlightened. And so he had this, memory of this experience when he was younger, and he wasn't even trying. And this gave him the confidence and the stick-to-itiveness to go ahead and just stay underneath that Bodhi tree and not give up until he became enlightened. And to a smaller degree, this happens with us as well. There's all these little things that happen, and it's important that we pay attention to them. And so something happened to me that was important, and I want to kind of explain that to you. Something that happened. After every Wednesday that I do this class, I go home, or I went back to my room, or I go home. And later that night, or it might be the next morning, that I log into YouTube and I just make sure that the video is posted. That's all that I do. I just make sure that the video is posted, and then I go on about my day and I do something else. I don't listen to it. I don't do anything. We've been doing these classes online for 9 months now, pretty much. And I have never listened to myself other than one, maybe 15, 30-second stretch, early on, just to make sure that the video was working correctly. And the reason for this is a lot of people don't like the sound of their voice, recorded voice. And neither do I. I really do not like it at all. And I read an article on this a while ago that explained why we don't like our voice. Because I'm not the only one, plenty of us are the same way. And it has to do with how I hear my voice right now is inside my head. That's how I hear it now. And when I see a recording, then it's outside of my head. And so how my voice sounds outside of my head sounds different than the voice in my head. And so that difference is very strange to a lot of people. It's very strange to me. And it brings up a lot of, kind of self-denigrating thoughts, a lot of internalized homophobia, most definitely, because I still have that. It still goes on. And so that's go on. So I in the 9 months, I don't listen to myself. And something happened, like it was Thursday, the day after, and I was sitting at my table, and I just checked the video, and yes, it's there. And so for some reason, I just clicked on it. I just clicked on it, and it started playing. And I watched myself. I watched last week's meditation, just the intro. I listened for several minutes, and what was interesting was that a lot of those self-denigrating thoughts, not there. And I was able to just kind of sit and notice, different mannerisms. I know I use my hands a lot. And I just sat there and I looked at it and I thought, okay, well, maybe do a little bit less of this and maybe do a little bit more of that. And it was just interesting not to have those thoughts there while I'm watching. And then I can just very objectively notice things that might be better to do. And so I watched it, and then I watched it for several minutes, and then I skipped to kind of towards the end and watched it for a couple more minutes to see if anything had changed or if I noticed anything else, and I didn't. And so I turned it off and say, okay, that's fine. And I turned the video off, and that's when I had the realization that there wasn't all of these thoughts there. And I noticed it, and I absorbed it. I don't know how else to describe that really. I just absorbed that into my being, and into my mind. And I thought, wow, isn't this fantastic? Isn't this fantastic? Where I wasn't even expecting anything to happen. I was expecting to press play and hear my voice and hear all those voices and kind of cringe just a little bit. And that didn't happen. That didn't happen at all. And I thought, well, isn't that fantastic? And that gave me a lot of confidence. It just made me feel so much better. And it made my, suffering just go away just a little bit, but enough to notice. And so that was wonderful. And I had a very concentrated, pleasant meditation that evening. But then the next evening, it was painful. It was so funny. It was just a very, too many thoughts and all these types of things, no matter what I did. It was just a very distracted meditation. But that's okay. That doesn't distract me. That doesn't dissuade me. That happens. That happens a lot, and that's just what happens in meditation. But I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that, because in your own practice, it's really important to notice these times when you realize that, oh, I used to be this way, and now I'm not. I used to be really, really angry when this happened, or really impatient when this happened, and now I'm less so. It doesn't have to go away completely for you to notice or to celebrate progress, but just to notice and to have gratitude for that and to be happy about that. Like, wow, I can do this. I can do this. So that's all I wanted to say. All right, Travis, Has anyone said hello?
Yes. I said hello on my phone. Jennifer said, hi, Alex, from Jen, Meatball, and Jeremy.
Hi, Jen, Meatball, and Jeremy.
Another Jeremy said, hi, Alex.
There are lots of Jeremys.
Beth said, hi.
Hi, Beth. Hi, Jeremy. The other Jeremy. The second Jeremy.
Jean said, hi, Alex. Glad to be here.
Hi, Jean.
Angela said, hello, everyone.
Hello.
And then Megan said, hi, not new to meditation, but new to this specific group. Glad to be sitting with y'all tonight.
Nice. Hi, Megan. Well, it's wonderful to be here with you. And so let's do this meditation, shall we? All right. So just since no one was new to meditation, so let's just take our position. So just allow your eyes to close. Bringing your attention into this room. Letting go of the cares of the day. And just, to the best of your ability, just feeling gravity support you in your seat. Feeling your seat completely, whether you're sitting on a mat or on a chair or on the end of your bed or wherever you're sitting. And feel that you're completely and fully supported, at one with the earth. So let's just take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. At first, not forcing the breath, letting the breath be quite easy and quite natural. And when you breathe, placing your attention at the base of the nostrils, feeling the air go in and out as you breathe. Let's just take a deep breath all the way in. And again, out. And also pay attention to the breath on the belly or the chest, feeling its expansion and contraction as you breathe. Beginning this process of just letting go of the day and whatever thoughts that might be rummaging in your head. That's how we begin to have loving kindness for ourselves. So just for the next few moments, just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of the breath. And so to begin our formal practice of loving kindness, we're going to think of a benefactor. And a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love and or great kindness. Someone it's really easy to have these feelings for. You just think of this person in your heart. You can just feel it getting bigger and warmer. Someone who's really close to your heart. And so you think of this person or these people, it could be more than one. But let's try to focus on one. And you picture them in your mind, and you just radiate loving kindness to them in however you want to do that, in however you understand that word. I like to picture a beam of loving kindness going from my heart to theirs. And this beam is nice and warm, and it's pulsing ever so slightly, and it's warming my heart, and it's warming their heart. I'm smiling, and I'm picturing them. They're smiling. In gratitude for all that they've done for me and all that they've meant to me. So just for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness for our benefactor. And now shifting our focus just a little bit, we're now going to imagine our benefactor doing the same practice for us. So you're going to imagine the same way, radiation, you can say. You could imagine them radiating loving kindness from their heart to yours. And however you understand that word is fine. However you want to do it. It could be one, it could be more than one person radiating loving kindness to you. And your only job is just to sit and receive. Receive all of this loving kindness from your benefactor or benefactors. And sometimes it even helps to put your hand over your heart, seeing if you can feel that. And seeing if there's any resistance, any part of you that's saying, no, I can't let this in. And if there is, that's okay. The only thing you have to do is to breathe. Breathe into that tension, breathe out. Maybe say to yourself, it's okay. You don't have to be perfect. Just allowing as much of that loving kindness from your benefactor, as much of that in as you can. And smiling, that always helps. And we'll do this for the next few moments. And now to the most important part of this meditation, and that is, can we now do this loving kindness practice for ourselves? And just call to mind your own wish to be happy, your own wish to be safe, your own wish to be healthy, your own wish to just be at ease in this world. And you can repeat phrases of loving kindness, like, may I be happy, may I be safe from inner and outer danger, may I be well in body and mind, may I be at peace and live at ease in this world. Or you can just direct this beam of loving kindness onto itself. You can imagine your heart getting warmer and bigger and able to expand and make it as big as you can. So we'll do this for the next few moments. And finally, to end our meditation, we're going to do this practice of loving kindness for all beings in all directions, as many as you can. The heart has this limitless quality, and it's really wonderful to explore this limitless quality in this part of the meditation. Extending your loving kindness and wishing loving kindness for all beings in all directions. May all beings be happy. However you want to radiate that to them, it's perfectly fine. So just open your eyes when you're ready. And just take the next minute out in silence as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs. If there's a question you have, I'm happy to take questions or comments about your meditation, about the instructions, about what's going on in the world, about what's going on with you, about Buddhism. Okay. That was good for me. It's always good for me. So that was our meditation. Again, we just kind of did it in the same way as before. Almost all of you, except for one who admitted it, weren't new to this class, so you kind of know how things go. But I am interested in whatever questions you may have. Travis, anyone say anything?
Not yet.
For shame. No, it's okay. We'll give it another 30 seconds and I'll just start talking about something.
So Jeremy asked, I'm most familiar with Zen meditation and would be curious to hear where the metta tradition comes from.
So the metta isn't a tradition, it's just a type of meditation that the Buddha taught. And it comes from the Metta Sutta or the Metta Sutra. And so we have this in the Mahayana and in the Theravada tradition. They also do it in the Mahayana tradition and Tibetan Buddhism. And if you're talking about Zen's very interesting because I just don't know enough about Zen Buddhism that if they talk about that specifically. But in Zen they talk a ton about posture. Your seated position, your back position, and what all of that means. I don't know all the nuances of that, but you hear them talking about that, and to me, that sounds like a lot of loving kindness because you're setting yourself up. You're getting yourself in the right position for meditation, in the right position for concentration, in the right position for releasing whatever you need to release. And I think of that a lot as a type of loving kindness meditation, especially loving kindness for yourself. They may not say so directly, but I might be completely full of shit. Who knows? But when I think about Zen meditation, I think about that a lot. About how does loving kindness translate to the Zen tradition? Or the Zen traditions. It's not just even Zen's not a monolith. There's Rinzai Zen and Soto Zen and probably some other kinds of Zen. I don't know, but That's kind of how I kind of look at it. So if you have a Zen teacher or someone who's very versed in Zen, ask them. I would like to know, and let me know. Let me know what they say. Let me know if it has anything to do with posture, or if I'm just like talking out my butt. Thanks, Jeremy.
So Jennifer shared, it's usually hard for me to feel the loving kindness I'm radiating to myself, but tonight I felt my heart open to my own compassion, like 85%,
Yeah.
and it felt really nice.
Nice, 85% is good. Oh my God, 85%, that's an amazing percentage. You know, even if you have 1%, 1% is good too. But that you had 85%, that's pretty special. And one of the things that it brings to mind for me is the idea of this kind of myth of perfection. In one way, we talk a lot about perfection and perfect behavior and perfect speech and perfect a lot of perfect things, and they have their day. But in everyday life, I think we expect too much of ourselves. We expect perfection in everything that we do. We expect perfection even though we're in the place in the journey that we're at. So if we're only in the first few years of our journey, that's really new. And you're not expected to be perfect. You're expected to maybe try. But if you're not perfect, that's perfectly fine. Like we had 85%. 85% is good. And it's something to celebrate. It's something to be, hopefully it's something that will give you confidence, because I talked about that at the beginning of class about some small thing happened to me. And in the grand scheme of things, it was a small thing, but it was an important thing. It was very important, and these things will happen, and these things you're not supposed to dwell on them, because we don't really dwell on specific experiences. But what these experiences can do is they can give you a degree of confidence that, hey, maybe this is possible. Maybe I won't give up. The most important or the most lethal weapon that the mind has, or that Mara has, or that he can throw at you, is doubt. Doubt in your own practice, doubt in your own behavior, doubt in your own speech, doubt in everything that you do. And it's very, very powerful. And if you know the story of the Buddha that I've told a number of times, that was Mara's most powerful weapon. He said, who do you think you are? He says this to Siddhartha, sitting underneath the tree. Who do you think you are that you can be enlightened? I have everyone else here in my grasp. Who do you think you are that you can escape my grasp and become enlightened? Right, and so he's throwing him doubt. He's trying to create doubt in his mind, and it didn't work. Right. And so these experiences give us confidence, and we should take that confidence with us. Maybe not the experience, but the confidence that it gives us. Thank you. I hope that helped. And so, until we get another question, I'll just talk a little bit. So, if you look back, and it's going to be different for every person. If you look back at, when you started meditating, or when you started with Buddhism, and how you are now, how you were then, how you are now, it's okay to notice and say, yeah, well, I'm a little bit better at this. I'm a little bit kinder here. I'm a little bit more compassionate. I'm a little bit more patient. I'm a little bit more fill in the blank. And you can look at even individual experiences like, oh yeah, I would have handled this differently like 4 years ago. I would have said something differently 10 years ago. And it's okay to look at these experiences. It's okay to kind of remember these things. Not as like an ego building or a false ego building, or that's the wrong word. Or I guess an ego building kind of thing. It's not an egoic kind of thing. It's just something that, hey, I did this well. And I wouldn't have done this well had I not started to meditate, had I not started to practice, loving kindness and, what all the other practices that we have in Buddhism. And so I do this all the time. And, I think, because somebody asked me a couple of days ago, like, how long have I been practicing Buddhism? And it's been since, it was the beginning of 2007. And so it's, coming up on 14 years now. And I look at who I was then and how I reacted to things, mostly internally. Externally, you may not notice a difference, but internally, I most definitely notice a difference. Externally, your friends might say, oh, you're just the same nice and pleasant and smiling Alex. But internally, I'm much different. A lot of my smiling back then was smiling to hide a lot of pain. And now a lot of my smiling these days is smiling just because I'm happy and I want to smile. I'm not trying to hide anything or put on any persona or a mask for you. It's like, hey, I'm in a good mood today, And that's very freeing and it's very wonderful.
Megan said, that was very powerful, thank you. Visualization tends to be more therapeutic for me. I'm most familiar with Theravada Buddhism and Vipassana meditation. Is visualization common in other schools?
Visualization is more common in other schools, but I understand it. I don't do lots of visualization. I mean, with this very specific metta practice, you can visualize someone smiling down at you, and I add that just because I think it's helpful for people. But normally, I mean, we don't do lots of visualization. I mean, some. I think they do it more in other schools. There is some visualization that we do. I think they do it more in some other schools, but I don't know enough about them. At one point I was a very much kind of a scholar in a way of Buddhism. Well, in the Zen tradition, they do this, because in the Tibetan tradition, there's 5 different Tibetan schools. There's, I don't even know what they are anymore. But there's 5, and then there's a couple of adjacent kind of Tibetan schools that are more Bon related, and Bon is like the native Tibetan spirituality that was pre-Buddhism, and then Buddhism came and kind of integrated itself into Bon. And so that kind of hybrid kind of tradition exists as well. And so besides the 5 main schools of Tibetan Buddhism, there's those schools as well. Though I think there's a lot of visualization that goes on there as well. And I used to know a lot more about that than I do now. And it was really fun getting to know the other schools. And the reason why I did that was because I found myself early in my Buddhist career getting really sectarian about Theravada Buddhism. Now, Theravada Buddhism was just the Buddhism that I learned first. it was just the one that I learned first, and so I thought of myself as, I'm a Theravada Buddhist, and I was like a Zen, and then I would make stink face. So stink face, right? Like Zen, Tibetan, Pure Land, all those different types of things, and I would be very critical of them, all while not knowing anything about them, right? All while not knowing jack about these other schools. And then I read this wonderful book, and I don't even remember what it's called. It's by Houston Smith and another guy, and it talked about the different schools of Buddhism and in the history of Buddhism through a historical lens, I guess you can say. And so we talked about, like, okay, so the Buddha dies, then what happens? So the Buddha dies, and 500 years later, nothing is written down, and there are 18 schools of Buddhism. At like the Third Buddhist Council, which happened around the turn of the Common Era, around around the year 0, or around when that was, they had the Buddhist Council, and then there's these 18 schools of Buddhism, and then it's like, well, the Buddha said this. No, the Buddha said this. The Buddha meant this. No, the Buddha meant this. And so that's when like the Mahayana broke off and did their own kind of thing, and then it went into northern India, and then it went into like different places. Not quite Tibet yet. Buddhism didn't go to Tibet until like the 9th century, like the 800s. And then it didn't really take well. There was a lot of confusion and corruption, and then it came back in the 13th century from Tsongkhapa. And then it really evolved. Then they kind of invented kind of like the Dalai Lama reign and all that kind of stuff. And they developed these wonderful practices, and it became kind of Tibetan Buddhism. And then it went into China, and it was in China for a while, then it eventually moved to Japan, then Korea, then Vietnam, and other places in Southeast Asia. And this book really explained like why it developed the way that it did. And we also know that in the sutras, that it was expected, it was expected to go to different countries and develop differently based on their understanding, the way that they understand things. And the Buddha was a master psychologist and a master sociologist, and he knew this was going to happen. And it did. And so Zen there's not even a Zen Buddhism. What Zen are you talking about? And so Buddhism is very much not a monolith. And so when people say, because I'm on some Facebook groups that have to do with Buddhism, when they say in these groups that because of this, Buddhism should be like this. Well, you know what? There's no such thing as Buddhism as you understand it, as if you're putting it in that context, because Buddhism is not a monolith. What are you telling me? All Buddhists should be like this. Who says? And why do you think you're the arbiter of that? It was wonderful. It was because I read this book and I understood how Buddhism evolved in different countries, where that's when I dropped all of my sectarianism. I just dropped it. And boy, does it feel good. It feels wonderful. And it's helped me to connect with so many different kinds of Buddhists. And I hope that, if you have learned something different in another Buddhist school, that, I don't know, maybe you're right. I don't know. We don't really hang on to those types of things. And how much time do we have? Great. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. I love this story, even though it's 8 o'clock. All right. So back in Thailand, back in, I think it was like the 70s, around the 70s, there was this Western woman. They just started letting Westerners practice and stay at these Thai monasteries and practice this Thai kind of forest Buddhism, forest tradition Buddhism. And there's this one woman who came there from, I don't know, the Peace Corps or something like that. And she became fluent in Thai. And so she was fluent in Thai, and she was very gifted in languages, and she got very good at meditation, and she knew about the Dharma, and she can, as a Westerner, can speak to native Thais in their own language, and she became, just very, very much beloved. And then something happened to her where she left, and then she came back. And when she left, she had this, evangelical Christian kind of experience. And she came back to try to convert everybody from Buddhism, saying that, oh, I was wrong, and that Jesus is the only way, and try to convert them from their Buddhist practice into Christianity. And the people were very upset. And they didn't know what to do. And so they went to Ajahn Chah, who was a very renowned forest master, incredibly wise, and they told him all about what was going on, and he just laughed. He just thought it was funny. And he goes, well, maybe she's right. And, just in that statement, maybe she's right, I think they realized how much they were hanging on, how much they gripped too tightly onto what they believed. And it's not like they were going to believe her or anything like that. They were just not threatened anymore about anything that she was saying. Like, yeah, you can go say what you're saying, and that's fine. We're good here. Thank you so much. And so they weren't really as angry anymore, because he wasn't angry. He understood. He was incredibly wise. So anyway, that was my quick story. Anything else? Did anybody say anything?
No one else said anything, but I did Google the name. It's Buddhism, A Concise Introduction.
Yeah.
By Houston Smith.
And like somebody else, right? Yeah. Buddhism, A Concise Introduction. Life-changing book for me. Let's join our palms together at our hearts, please. And may the benefit of this meditation, this discussion, be received by all beings. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that they are, that you are. Thank you for coming. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Happy Thanksgiving. I wish nothing but peace and love and joy to all of you.